Hey guys, it's Shannon and I'm still here in Florida where it's really hot. It's been raining like crazy the past few weeks. Today I'm going to finish up my tips for backpacking in Europe. These tips are pretty gender neutral for guys and girls, so let's dive on into it. Bring a backpack because in these old cities in Europe there are so many steps, and we saw a lot of tourists who were lugging these really heavy, huge suitcases up the stairs. And I can tell that they were regretting that suitcase decision. So bring a backpack and you'll save yourself so much trouble in these older cities. I recommend the Osprey Farpoint 40-liter backpack. It fits the requirement for carry-on bags if you're doing budget airlines. It was very comfortable, breathable, sturdy, $200 US, and I got mine off of Amazon, but it is a lifelong investment. The Osprey Farpoint 40-liter backpack is a bit big for a day bag, so bring something that you can carry around that's a bit smaller in the daytime. For my personal day bag, I used a crossbody purse, and that's only because I have a really bad shoulder and it starts burning if I have a backpack on for a long amount of time. Just be mindful that you might have to carry things in your hand or wrap something around your waist if you do the crossbody purse. If you're someone who doesn't have shoulder issues, go for a small backpack as your day bag. Any old backpack will work. It could be a JanSport. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just make sure that you can compress it into your larger backpack when you're ready to travel. For a camera, I brought the Sony a6000, which was pretty light and compact. I didn't bring a camera bag, but I always protected it with a foam cover. Camera accessories can get a little crazy. I tried to stick to the basics, but they did take up a lot of space in my pack. For a tripod, I brought the Adobe tripod. I've talked about this guy before. I hate selfie sticks so much, but you know what, guys? This came in handy when I was trying to get a bunch of underwater shots.
Split at sunset, super pretty, incredibly beautiful, and let's hope Shannon doesn't fall in the water as she tries to video the fish down there.
I look so dumb. For the GoPro, I have the Hero 5 Session, which is very tiny. I've dropped this a lot and I haven't cracked it. Next, I recommend an egg timer. This gets those cool panorama shots where it just spins really smoothly. I was kind of nervous about getting on security with this because it looks kind of weird, but it passed security and I didn't have any problems. Also, bring a few extra items that you might lose along the way. For example, extra lens caps and SD cards. I did end up bringing my long lens, which I regret. I used it once to take a picture of a sheep that was in a field pretty far away. I just found it to be pretty bulky and heavy when I had my day bag. During the planning process, make sure you weigh the pros and cons of going during the summertime.
It's really hot here. About 1,000 degrees.
It's bright.
It's bright and it's hot or sticky. There's some good shade behind every ruin. You are gonna be somewhat overwhelmed at times by all of the people. You might not have the best views to get shots on your camera. If you go in the summertime, just be patient. There will be a gap in the crowd when you want to take a photo. You might just have to wait it out. Readjust your schedule, wake up earlier or stay out later when there are less people. Standing in the middle of Tourist Nation. One nation under all of the tourists. Lots of cruise ships pull into here, so way more people. Pro tip, walk around the castle at night. Way less people, cooler temperatures. This is a very busy town on the weekends. A lot of bachelor parties, it's looking like, and bachelorette parties. We're joining the crowds. In Old Town Dubrovnik, and it is quite a hot day. We're here on a Monday, still quite packed. Lovelock bridges are everywhere and you're gonna want to feel included, so bring a lock and a Sharpie marker that you can write your initials on. And it's kind of cool because it's not a traditional souvenir, it's not something you're taking home, but you're leaving a part of you in Europe.
We're on the bridge that's got all these locks on it for people's loves and all this stuff.
Folks bring locks from all over the world and hook them up. They write their names and then they toss the key over into the Rhine River. Typically we paid anywhere from 3 to 6 euros, I think, on a bottle of wine.
We are...
I have wine tea.
Bari, Italy, maybe Bari, Italy, and we've got some wine.
Sorry. You'll find out very quickly that beer is actually cheaper than water over there. Tap water isn't really a thing in Europe. We're not gonna pay to go in, we're gonna go find beer, actually. We think you're allowed to drink on the streets.
But we're not 100% sure.
So,
We're just gonna...
in Germany they have what's called the Germany Beer Purity Law, which means brewers are only allowed to use a few ingredients. The best beer we had was in Prague in a monastery, and I'll link below the exact location. We heard about this monastery through a Rick Steves episode, and the beer did live up to his recommendation. We did get the light beer and the dark beer at this monastery, but the darker beer was just a lot smoother, and we came back the second night to get it again.
Woo! Delicious.
If you're eating at a more traditional restaurant in Europe, you might get a free dessert shot at the end of the meal, which is incredible. It could be schnapps or it could be some type of local liquor. Ask your server if you're supposed to shoot it or if you're just supposed to sip it. This is their flavored schnapps. They have so many different flavors, walnut, and I got sour cherry. Ooh, tastes like medicine. Beautiful presentation and a free local liquor.
Grappa.
What?
Grappa.
Grappa. In Europe, when you're sightseeing, be prepared to pay to use the bathroom. Always keep coins on you, and that's not a problem because you're gonna start collecting 1,000 coins during your travels because cash is just more popular there. Trying to find a potty. Typically there will be change machines, but sometimes there won't. What you're looking for is WC. That means water closet. Those are the bathrooms. WCs are prime real estate when you find them.
They usually charge you monies.
They charge you too much monies. Not what we're used to
Yeah.
at all.
Free.
When you arrive at a new country, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is get some cash out. Like I mentioned earlier, guys, Europeans love their coins. My gosh, they have a 1 cent, a 2 cent, 5 cent. That is what it is. So you're gonna get a lot of coins. Buy a change purse that has a lot more room in it for the coin pocket, and that way you don't have to carry around a Ziploc bag like I did. You'll feel a bit more organized with the change purse method. If you do end up with this massive amount of coins, I have a funky tip for how to get rid of them. What you're gonna wanna do is to go to DHL, which is just basically the UPS of Europe. At the stamp machine, you can use up to 15 coins to buy a stamp. You might want stamps if you're sending postcards back home. So one by one, just feed the machine and you'll get rid of a ton of your cash money. Or when you're about to depart from one country and hop to the next, think ahead in the next country what you're gonna buy there and buy it in the country you're in now. For example, we got too much money out in Croatia. The currency there is kunas, and we bought 2 bottles of wine that we then brought to Italy. Walking home with a bunch of groceries. Again, we got 2 bottles of wine to blow through our kunas.
Pretty good wine too.
And we have this epic mountain view. Wow. Before you head out on your trip, make sure you figure out what kind of souvenir that you're gonna be coming home with, because they will take up space in your backpack. My go-to souvenirs were postcards, brochures, maps, and also a few magnets. I didn't get too many of these, but they didn't take up a lot of space in my bag. In Mykonos, I was feeling the Greek vibes, so I ended up buying this crazy turtle bracelet. I haven't worn it once, so just be careful. Don't be tempted by all the pretty tourist things. Once you get back home, you'll realize, oh my gosh, when am I gonna wear this? And also, it's just something else to store. This is the touristy area, so they're selling lots of hats made out of wicker and fans. Croatia, they're known for their fresh figs. So we just bought some from the cute little fig ladies over here in the national park. A lot of street sellers out here. In Croatia and Greece, I did realize I needed to buy a few more things to make the trip more enjoyable. The first was a one-piece bathing suit because I was just very self-conscious that I was eating all this bread throughout Europe and I didn't want to wear my 2-piece, so I bought a 1-piece in Split, Croatia. Next, I bought a diving mask that I could use to see under the water. We're going snorkeling. And also a big floppy hat to keep the sun off of my face. I did buy those souvenirs that we talked about earlier, and that's really it. Everything else that we bought was just food and drinks along the way. Now I'm gonna talk to you guys about the things I ditched along the way. So I have a list that I kept in my phone. I got rid of 1 pair of black socks, 2 clothespins that I was gonna use to hang my clothes up in hostels, for example, and a white door hook. I had this little hook that I thought I could hang my clothes on, for example. I got rid of a nail file. I don't know why that's on there. A body wash, because every hotel that we stayed at had body wash or shampoo. Next, a Delta blanket. I was a sucker and bought this RFID blocking travel wallet. First of all, it was huge. Second of all, I don't even know why I would need that technology out there, so I chucked it at the airport. That wraps up my backpacking in Europe tips video. Before you go, be sure to click subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next travel video.